Texas boxing scene is here with Carlos Torres ahead of his fight on June 10th back in his home city of Corpus Christi. First, how's camp going and how you feeling?
Camp's going great, man. I'm feeling great. I'm very, very excited because, obviously we were supposed to fight February 18th. We did a whole interview on that, and that fight didn't go through. And so since February 18th, I just been itching, man, to hopefully finally get to fight in my hometown. But camp's going great. I've been in the gym. I've been training hard, sparring, running, doing all that good stuff. I feel strong. I'm ready to get in there, man.
Right, and we talked about the weight. I talked to you in the past, and you said Super Bantam 122 is probably your best weight. It's supposed to come in at 25. It got changed to 27. So now, you don't have to really cut any weight at all. How is that? How are you relieved that you don't have to shred those few extra pounds at the end?
Yeah, it's a 50-50 feeling, but I'm trying to focus more on the positive because,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, especially for the lighter weights, 2 pounds is 2 pounds, and if we could have brought them down to 25, I would have liked to bring them down to 25. Fights at 27, so that's all right because, like I said, to me, I feel stronger at 22. Because I don't have to cut too much weight to get under 22. So
Yeah.
now fights at 27, which is 5 pounds above 22. That's 5 pounds that I don't have to cut. I'm lean, I'm strong where I'm at. So if I don't have to cut any weight, I'm just trying to focus on that. I don't have to cut any extra weight. I could eat lean. Don't have to really cut no calories out. Don't have to do none of that stuff. So I'm gonna be going in there strong, looking for a fight.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it. This is the first fighter. I don't know if I guess you know this. This is the first fighter you've ever fought that's not undefeated. When you're stepping in the ring with them,
Yeah.
you've taken no easy fights, no camp drivers on your resume.
No.
So I want to ask you, right? So now you're going into a fight where you're not brought in as a B-side to fight undefeated fight. You're fighting in front of your hometown fans. You're expected to win. Is there more pressure? Is it better? Is it worse? Do you like being the underdog, or how does it feel? That you're expected to win now. Like, your fans are here; they want to see you get a knockout, as opposed to being brought in as a B-side.
Um, you know, to me, uh, I'm just excited. I'm just excited. It doesn't. I guess it does affect me a little bit, but if anything, it makes me more excited because, as you said, I'm gonna be fighting here at home. These other fights that I've took. Like you said, I have took no easy fights. I fought nothing but undefeated guys on the road,
Literally,
and
all undefeated fighters on your record. Yeah,
yeah, all
on
undefeated
the road.
guys.
Yeah,
And finally I get to fight at home with a lot would label a easier fight, but there's no such thing as easy fights because he's preparing just as I'm preparing, and he's gonna come to fight. He's gonna come looking to upset me, but no pressure, no pressure. If anything, it's a little more pressure on the road, to be honest, because you're going out of your comfort zone. You're away from home. You got to find different things to eat. Nutrition is key to me when getting ready for a fight. And when you're out traveling on the road, I like to cook at home. And on the road, you can't really cook at home. You can't
yeah.
really prep all this stuff. So if anything, I feel way more comfortable since I'm at home in front of people I know. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm much more comfortable here at home. To be honest, I think anybody would really.
So you're supposed to fight on the return card, the first Reyna Promotions card back in on February 18th. Obviously, your opponent fell through. How disappointing was that at that time? You had your fans there, probably you had tickets sold, and then 3 days before the fight, your opponent drops off. How disappointed were you?
Oh, super disappointed, man. I think anybody would say that is very, very disappointing, demoralizing for me. To be honest, man, that fight falling out. I'm not gonna lie. The following few week or two after that was really tough for me. I went through a whole mental thing and went through a lot of stuff be, simply because I didn't get to fight. Like I sold all my tickets. I had a crowd ready for me, and it's just very, very upsetting and depressing, to be honest.
For sure.
It's one thing. It's one thing for it to happen in the amateurs because it happened a lot in the amateurs. Fights falling out, you don't get matched, whatever, whatever. In the pros, you expect to fight, man. You don't expect to guys to pull out. I know it happens, but man, I only have 4 fights, and I've probably had more fights fall out and opponents pull out on me than I have fights. I have more fights fell out than I have fights, and it gets old. You know what I mean? It gets
Yeah.
real old and demoralizing. You make all these sacrifices. You sacrifice foods, time with friends, family time, so many things, so many sacrifices that you make leading up to this fight. Financial sacrifices, sponsors, helping you out. So much stuff that goes into prepping for a fight. For guys to be able to just call and say, "Oh, hey, never mind, I can't fight," and they don't even have to
3
give
days.
a reason. That
If you do it 3 weeks out, okay, I got time to find a replacement. 3 days, it's like, man, like, yeah.
exactly, man. See, so like to me, that I'm gonna just say how it is. It's flat out bullshit, and I think things should start changing when it comes to that. There should be some kind of repercussions for fighters pulling out on fight week, especially if they do it multiple times. I
Yeah.
understand things happen that are out of your control sometimes, but man, like you said, when you pull out 3 days before the fight, it's one thing to pull out weeks in advance, but when you wait till fight week, a couple of days before, and then you don't even have to give a legitimate reason at that. They can just say, "Oh, I hurt myself," and they don't have to prove it. "Oh, I'm sick." They don't have to prove it. Or they can simply just say, "Oh, I'm not ready. Never mind," or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's really tough for us guys that take it serious and are ready to fight. So I'm just glad that for June 10th we have an opponent who's ready to fight and he's gonna show up.
So I know, unfortunately, you weren't able to fight there, but did you get to go to the last Reyna Promotions card? Did you get to check it out?
I didn't, man, and I
Okay.
should have. I really should have. Like I mentioned, I went through a whole.
Yeah.
I had a whole mental breakdown basically for that fight falling apart. I already had a lot of things going on in my life, and that fight February 18th to me symbolized like a new beginning. You know what I mean? Because I had been going through so much stuff, and then that fight fell off, and I wish I would have went to the fights that night, because that night it was a very terrible night for me. A night that was supposed to be a great night for me and for boxing turned out to be a terrible night. But you know what? I bounced back, and I'm here ready for this fight, and that's left in the past, and I'm just ready for June 10th, man.
And I want to get into that, right? So your opponent, Luis Fernandez, from Austin. I've seen, I think, almost every single one of his fights except for maybe one.
Yeah.
How much do you know about your opponent? Have you got to scout him a little bit? And then what do you think of Fernandez?
I know him very well. They just say that. I don't know him personally, but I do my digging.
Yeah.
I do my digging as any other team would do, smart team would do. I do my digging. I watched all his fights except for maybe one. There's nothing extraordinary. He's a tough fighter. He knows how to fight. He knows how to throw his punches. He's tough. So we're expecting a tough fight. We're preparing for a tough fight, and we're ready for whatever. I'm ready to go. I mean, it's only 4 rounds. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm ready to go in there and all gas, no brakes. It's gonna be a good fight. I'm excited for it.
So I asked Justin Williams. I interviewed Justin Williams earlier today, and I asked him the same question I'm going to ask you right now. Is you look at your record, and it's deceiving, right? You're 1-3, right? But you got to look at it closely to see who you actually fought.
Yeah.
Do you think people overlook you because you don't have the shiniest record, that you don't have a 0 in the loss column? Do you think people overlook you and they don't really know how good of a fighter you are?
Most definitely, because like I mentioned to you in our past interview, if you really go back and watch those fights, I beat all them guys except for arguably one. There's one where you can argue, he won, I won, whatever. Personally, he may have beat me on points. Like I said, it's arguable, but all the other ones, I beat them. David Perez, that I fought in Oklahoma for my debut, I smacked them around, and they had their production team, because he was their star that night. They had a production team, put it on YouTube. It was up for everybody to see. Everybody started commenting, what a robbery, that I won the fight. Everybody started commenting against David Perez. So like a week or two after that video was up, they deleted it. They took it down. Doesn't exist. No more footage. So that itself says a lot.
You scrub it from the internet. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, that says a lot. But
And I want to put that in perspective. David Perez is now, I think he's 7-0 or 8-0 at this point, right? Like he's gone on.
yeah.
He's won all of his fights since. Yeah.
Yeah, his team, they're building him that. Like I've always said. I mean, I know I talk my stuff, I say what I say, but at the end of the day, another thing that I will say is, like David Perez, I got no hate for him because, like the saying goes, don't hate the player, hate the game. And his team is doing a very good job in bringing him up. Building
Yeah.
him. He's fighting. All his fights have been in his hometown, in his backyard. You know what I mean? So, and if you look at all the world champions, they all started fighting nobodies or in their backyard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a process to this game. So like I said, don't hate the player, hate the game. David Perez is doing well. He's like 7-8-0 now. But I just want to set the record straight. I whooped him around in his backyard, and they took the video down because why else would they take it down?
Because it's incriminating. Yeah, because it shows. Because the video is the witness that never lies, right? Like, I mean, the video says what it says.
Yeah, of course.
In your next fight, you came back and you fought another undefeated fighter who's gone on, won his next fight. Justin Marquez, you beat him in his hometown too, right?
Yeah, I believe it was his hometown or he grew up there. I'm not sure if he was born there, but grew up something like that. But he had a lot of fans there, and I remember because after the fight, a lot of fans. I took my little victory lap around the arena, and people were stopping me and they were telling me, "Hey, man, we all came because we know who Justin Marquez is. We support him. We follow him on Instagram because he has like a shit ton of Instagram followers." But hey, man, you did really good. You beat him up. I gained the respect of a lot of fans, but there was a lot of people there that were there for him. I mean, we were the co-main event. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of people there to see him. I remember because a lot of people told me that, hey, we're here to see Marquez, but we're really impressed with how you did. We just want to congratulate you. But that was a great experience as well.
So besides not fighting in enemy territory, what do you got to do to ensure that you get the decisions and the refs? I mean, the judges can't steal it from you. What do you got to do to make sure that it goes your way?
I have to go in there and man, I don't ever like to say like, oh, I'm gonna look for the knockout, because if the knockout comes, it'll come. I just have to go in there, like my coach has been telling me, Coach Joe Sauceda, he wants me to go back to fighting the way I fought in the amateurs, which is volume, just volume, bunch of punches, volume, and and that's how you win, especially here in Texas, because when I went to California and fought Fernando Bahena, that's how I fought. I fought with a bunch of volume, a bunch of punches, pressure, and I lost. And one of the officials or something, one of the commissioners told me, "Hey man, we like to, you had a lot of volume, but we like to see better style boxing. More firm punches, movement, this and that." So I guess it depends on what state you're fighting in. Texas likes volume, pressure.
Pressure. Yeah.
Apparently, California likes boxing. You know what I mean? Technical boxing. That's what I got from what I was told. But here, to win, I just have to go in there and be prepared to throw 100 punches per round. You know what I mean? To ensure that the fight doesn't get taken from me. I really don't want to leave it up to the judges, even though I'm fighting at home, because obviously I have I have bad experience leaving it to the judges. So I got to try to go in there and just throw a bunch of punches, attempt not to leave it to the judges. If it goes to the judges, that's all right, because I go in there with a different game plan this time, and hopefully it goes my way, and it will, because we're prepared. We're ready for anything.
So, assuming that you do win and you do get the victory, I know you don't pass any opponent, and you got a live opponent there, a tough guy who's professional. But assuming that you do win, when do you want to be back in the ring, and what are you expecting? What's your plan for the future, the rest of this year, and moving into next year?
I want to be active, man. I want to be really active, especially. I mean, I know Reyna Promotions has plans to keep doing shows. As you mentioned earlier, there's another promoter that might be doing some shows here. So, I mean, I would really like to stay fighting at home and build myself just like anybody else would. You know what I mean? Anybody who's in the game that's undefeated, they know the game. And the game is build yourself. Either go to Mexico or fight in your backyard. That's the game, man. And some people deny it. Some people will smile in your face and be like, "Yeah, that's the game. Don't hate the
And going
player,
to
hate the
Mexico
game."
is tough, man. I don't always recommend that. I've seen so many undefeated fighters go into Mexico thinking they're going to get a knockout, get a win to build their record, and then they get stopped. I've seen it so many times. Like going to Mexico, it's not always what it's cracked up to be. People think they're going to go in there
Yeah,
and get an easy win, and it goes
yeah, I guess
sideways
so.
quick. Yeah.
But it's also on the team though.
Mhm.
You got to have a smart team that does their
Yeah.
homework and knows how to strategically match you. You know what I mean? And and that's the game. Yeah, that's the game. But I want to stay active, man. I was actually supposed to fight this past May 13th, last Saturday in Odessa on the boxing
Okay.
showcase
Yeah.
against Israel Camacho. But once again, he pulled out apparently because he had COVID. Don't know how true that may be, but that's what they
Yeah.
said.
Are people still getting COVID? All right. I'm not. I'll take him at his word, but like, when was the last time you heard somebody getting COVID? Like, are they even testing for that anymore? I mean,
I don't
whatever.
know, man,
I'll
but
take. I'll
yeah,
believe him. Yeah.
but I mean, don't get me wrong, so do I. But it's just like I said, I only have 4 fights, and I've had more fights fall out and opponents
Yeah.
pull out than I have fights. So, so even if it's true, to me, I hear it and I'm just like, man, whatever, that's bullshit. But even though it may not be, you know what I mean? But I'm just tired of fights falling out because fighters are hurt or they got COVID or they got issues. Or I've heard it all, man. I only have 4 fights, and I've heard so many reasons to as why fighters won't fight me. And it's crazy how there's some fights too, how we want them to come fight over here, but they won't do it. But they call me the following week, wanting me to go fight them in their backyard. Why? Because that's the game. You want a better chance to win, you fight in your backyard. I'm not saying, the judges automatically go for the hometown guy, but
Yeah.
that's the game, man. I don't know. Sometimes the crowd can influence judges too. You're
For
fighting at
sure. The
home.
hometown cheer. Yeah. For
Yeah,
the hometown
yeah, the
audience
hometown
in the
cheering.
back.
Every,
Yeah.
every every punch you throw, even if you don't land, the crowd goes wild and they score it as a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
But
I've
that's
seen
the
it. I
game.
want to ask you.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
that oh no, I'm finished. That's the game, and that's just
Okay.
how it goes. I want to stay active, man.
I want to ask you about that because this is your first time fighting at home, right? And you've always gone on the road. Is it different? Are there distractions? You got friends, family, asking you for tickets. Is there a distraction? Is it harder to stay focused, or do you like being able to stay at home?
No, I really like last time I didn't get to actually fight, but
Yeah.
the process leading up to the fight, I mean, I was relaxed. I was ready, man. I like what comes with fighting at home because uh, I don't want to sound like I'm big headed or anything, but when you fight at home, you feel like you're the superstar. Even if
Yeah.
you're not the headlining
Yeah.
bout, you still feel like you're the superstar
For
because
sure.
everybody's asking you for tickets, everybody's wanting to go see you. You hop on interviews, things like that. So it's really a confidence builder fighting at home leading up to it because everybody, like you said, everybody's asking you for tickets, things like that. It's not a distraction whatsoever. It's not a distraction whatsoever. I like it. I like the experience last time. I wish I would have got to fight, but same thing this time around. Uh, I feel really relaxed, because when you travel, you start over. At least me, I start overthinking about the whole traveling and the schedule and the nutrition. What am I gonna eat? What am I gonna take? Did I forget something? I gotta
Oh,
buy
you don't
this. I
gotta
gotta
worry.
buy
You're
that.
not cutting as much weight, so shouldn't. That won't be too hard. With the.
Yeah, that too. Because when you're on the road too, like
It's
here
hard.
at home, yeah, I got everything. I know where everything's at. If I need a sauna, if I need a hot bath, if I need something for nutrition, whatever. Yeah, I'm at home.
Yeah.
I'm where I'm comfortable. When you're on the road, it's like, oh, I gotta go find a gym where they got a sauna. I gotta find a gym where they do this. I gotta find this. I gotta find a specific meal that I'm looking for. You know what I mean? They don't have stoves in the hotel, so it's not like
Yeah.
I can go get my groceries and cook what I like at home. So it's definitely a lot more a smoother ride fighting here at home because it's just like every day. You get up, you go train, you eat, you sleep, you come back, and then on fight week, same thing. On fight week, you're at home. You go, you work out. Same, you know how they say, same old shit. You go, you work out, come home, Ain't nothing but a thing, another day at the office.
So I want to ask you two more questions. First off, tomorrow night, which is getting posted tomorrow. So tonight,
All right.
Loma versus Haney. Who you got?
Oh, it's a tough one.
Tough one, right?
They're both really technical, but you have to choose one. If you have to choose one, I'm going with Loma
There
because
you go. Calling
because
the upset.
because I don't know. I've always rooted for the underdog for one. I really like Lomachenko. I like the way he carries himself. Uh, I like everything about Lomachenko. I really do. I like Haney as well. Don't get me wrong. I like Haney, but I like Lomachenko a little bit more than I like Haney. So I'm gonna have to go with Lomachenko on this one.
Then June 10th, you're back in the ring in your home city, Corpus Christi, on the Reyna Promotions card. Got a prediction for the fight?
For my fight,
For your fight.
All I could predict is that I'm getting that victory that night. It's inevitable. I could feel it. I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my heart with everything that I got. Just like I did last fight. Things happen for a reason. God does things for a reason. And maybe last time it just wasn't the right time. Maybe this time it will be. But mark my words, when I finally step, even if something happens with this fight, when I finally step into that ring in front of my home crowd, you're gonna see the best version of me that you've seen in all my fights. Best version is coming up, and I'm ready. And whether the knockout comes or not, I'm winning that night. June 10th, my hand will be raised.
Carlos Torres, it was an honor and a privilege to get to talk to you. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Thank you, man. Hey, first of all, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you once again. Hopefully, we get to talk face to face, the weigh-ins and the fights and stuff. I look forward to that. You can follow me. My little name is down here at Carlos Cruz 82. Thank you to my sponsors. Thank you to my head trainer, Coach Joe Salceda, my coach Adam Franco, Juan Rodriguez. They've helped me out a lot inside and outside of the ring. Franco's Pride Boxing Club, Salceda's Boxing. They've done a lot for me. My sponsors have done a lot for me. My family. I thank you, everyone who supports me, and I thank you for giving me the time of day to do this interview, man.
Oh, God bless. The Corpus Christi boxing scene is alive and well. Looking forward to it. June 10th. I'll see you then.
God bless you, man.
God bless.